All right, so picked up a new mower. What I got, as you can tell by the description, I got the Honda HRX217. This is the K6 edition with the HYA option kit. Essentially, this is the 2019 version. A few minor things changed from 2018 on it, but the main differences are, I believe, fuel cap, or sorry, the oil dipstick is a little bit different. The fuel cap is a little bit bigger and easier. It's really nice, as you can, real wide bottle or neck, and if it's a little bit lower, you can see there's a little lip in there. It's real easy to see when it's full. It's really easy, so you're not going to overflow it. It's not like one of those small necks. I'll show you on the Toro. One of the things I don't like about that. As soon as it's tight, click, so you know it's right. This mower is plastic. It's got a Nexite deck, is their trademark name for the plastic deck. It's supposed to have a limited lifetime warranty, so we'll see how that is. Long term, it's got the Honda engine for 2019. They now have a GCV 200 engine instead of the 190 that was on the previous versions of the HRX217. It's around 10% more power, so more power isn't going to hurt. I'm not sure of any other residential mower out there that has more power. This model, I believe MSRP is around $850. You can find it anywhere from $730 to $750 pretty easily, depending on if you get Home Depot or something like that. So in general, it's a push mower. It is self-propelled, stuff like that. But the Toro Recycler, some of the differences are essentially the Recycler, basically the only option that it has over the HRX is it has a washout port. Whether or not you use that, not many people do, but it's just a difference. And the personal pace system versus basically throttle control system. So on here, this model has the blade stop. So when you start it up, we'll start it up in a little bit. You can tell, you basically just turn the throttle on and then you pull the cord. You don't have to worry about pulling the handle, trying to pull the handle with that. It's really easy to start. Should be about a half a pull. Typically it's 2 or 3 pulls for me because of another option that this mower has is fuel shutoff. Typically that's a commercial grade only. What I like to do is once I'm done mowing, I turn the fuel off on like my last cleanup trip or cleanup round, and then let it run out of fuel and shut off on its own. Less fuel in the carburetor typically means it's not going to gum up as quick. So another thing this has on it, besides the blade stop, which is an option only like 1 or 2 of the Toro models have, I think this might be the select drive option, but essentially you just choose your speed. High, low, in between. It's okay, but in all honesty, if you want a more leisurely pace, you want the mower to go to your speed, this personal pace is a better option. All you got to do in the personal pace is push a little bit of pressure on there and the lawnmower starts driving. This is going to be more, it just pulls you along. So you don't have to push with any effort, it pulls you, which is nice. If you don't have a lot of obstacles in your yard, this is absolutely awesome. I think if you have a ton of obstacles and where you have to speed up and slow down a lot, this isn't going to be the most friendly system for you. This is going to work for all things, but that's not going to be there. One of the other things, I'm not sure on the warranty on the Toros, but typically it's 1 to 3 years. You'd have to check depending on the models that you're running. But the HRX217 mowers, it's a standard 5-year warranty, and then typically in the spring, they do come with a extended 1-year warranty. So I have a lifetime warranty on the deck and a 5-year warranty on the rest of the parts. Based on a lot of the research, stuff like that, you're paying extra for the Honda. Hopefully you shouldn't have any issues. As I recommend in all my small engines, do not put a drop of ethanol in there. I'll put a link in the description below, but if you go to, I believe it's puregrass.org, type in your location, it'll tell you locations that do not have ethanol in it. It is well worth driving a few miles out of your way to get non-ethanol gas in your small engines. It'll just save you a ton of repair costs and just headaches altogether. Other than that, on the Toro, some of the stuff I didn't like about it, essentially now it needs a good clean out of the carburetor. I'm not going to take that away from it. When I got the mower, it would start first to second pull, so I'm not going to take that away. But I do have to pull with less force than the HYA mower or the Honda. So the Honda, with how easy it starts, we'll see in a little bit. I'll pull start outside. That it's basically like a half a pull and it's running. Another thing I don't like on this is obviously if you're going to be changing the oil, if you tip it out the top, it's going to be draining all over the plastic and stuff like that. It's just, yeah, that's just how it is. So another thing I don't like is the gas can. So every time you fill it up a little bit, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little like vent spout there. It just fills up really quick, and then you got to wait for the fuel to drain down before you can keep filling it. It is a pain in the rear end. You do not have that issue on the Honda. Other than that, I mean, bagging, this did okay. I have not bagged yet with the Honda, so I'm not going to talk about how much better or worse it is. Cut quality is so far night and day better. The Toro is just a standard single blade mower, and the Honda has a 2-blade system. So this is just kind of mocked up. This is my replacement blades. I did not sharpen the blades on the new mower yet, but I plan on sharpening these and putting them on. These seem sharper than some of my other blades, but essentially what this system has is 2 blades. So this blade comes up a little bit lower, or this might be backwards, but essentially it cuts the blade twice. And what that does is it mulches smaller than most other mowers can do out there. It's a little bit more expensive when you have to put new blades in, but it's really not that big of a deal. Let's see. Yeah, other than that, it's pretty good. The Honda mower does have more options to it. It is essentially top of the line for consumer push mowers. Ball bearing wheels versus cheap wheels, so they should last longer, they should roll easier. It does have a bag and mulch option that's real quick and easy. It's easy to switch on the Toro as well with the blue handle, but here you can choose between mulch, bag, and in between if you want half of the grounds to mulch, half of them to get sent out to shoot. If you're bagging, if you don't put a bag on there and change this to bag, what it'll do is it'll actually use this as your chute. So you don't have to have an added chute to there. Whether or not that's a smart design or just a cost-saving feature, I don't know. This mower does have the same smart Stow type features. Whether or not it stands up, I have not tried. I'm not going to. But essentially, all you do is flip a lever, flip this one half. Sorry, you should be lifting it, but with one hand. Then all you got to do is flip this up and over, and now it's nice and compact. At least on my Toro standard recycler, it is not the super recycler model. That is not an option until you spend double the money. So I mean, you are getting a lot. This does have multiple heights, 3 different heights for the handle. Hour meter is something I put on there. I'm going to mount it a little bit differently. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, Toro does have a lawn striping system that comes with it. It's a little bit bulky. You got to fill it up with sand. I have the Big League Lawns Checkmate striper on here. I'll do a comparison video on that shortly. That's going to be a different video, but in general, this system's nice because it's OEM, but it's a pain in the rear end filling that up with sand. We'll go over more comparisons, but other than that, I'll show you how easy this one starts. This one, I'm not going to start it up because it's not a fair comparison, but we'll come back in a second once I open up the garage door and we'll start this one up. All right, now we're outside. Don't want to start up engine inside, obviously. One of the other things I did not mention was this mower is heavy. It's got a plastic deck, but I would have to look in the specs. It's probably about 20 pounds heavier than that mower there. So if you are someone that's not very strong, it does take quite a bit more pressure to pull it backwards. For me, it's not a big deal, but for someone that, if you don't have the strength to push a mower around, this may not be the best. That's really that, and depending on the yardage, this system. But I mean, in my yard, I have a lot of straight runs, and I'm going to get rid of a tree in the front yard very shortly. I'll have all straight runs, so the speed in the lots of small corners isn't going to be an issue. So that being said, let's give this a start. Essentially, got to make sure that's facing that way. It means it's on. Turn this to fast, and then give it a pull. You don't have to hold the handle in or anything like that. So it's relatively quiet, as you can tell. If I would have pulled it harder without the camera, it would have started up right away. But essentially, that was very easy. It's nice and quiet. Might get a little bit louder here, but to start the blade, all you do is push that down. Gonna bog down. And you just select that. You can go without the blade moving. So like that. There are other reviews out there that go into more of the details, but essentially this is a premium mower. I'm expecting it to last me 20 plus years, and it's got just about every feature on it but electric start. But with how easy it is to start, unless you really have a hard time pulling it, I don't think it's worth the money. And if you need the electric start because you can't pull it to start it, I think they're a little bit too hard to pull backwards, so I really don't think that's the right mower for you. But overall, it's good. Decent comparison to the Recycler. This isn't a bad mower. It's just it's metal. So I mean, as long as you keep it inside, it's not going to rust out. There's really no rust on mine. I just wanted to get a new mower. Just do it right. This does have a 190cc engine, but it's 7 pounds of torque. I think it's like 9.6 on the Honda. I could be wrong, but overall, that mower is 9 days better than this, but we'll let you guys decide. So there's a good comparison. Essentially, plastic deck, larger mower, 2 blades, different drive system. A lot of compare and contrast, but overall, there's a lot more design thought and quality built into the Honda mower that there's just cost savings things implemented on this mower, which is what's going to make this a little bit cheaper. So thank you for stopping in, and let me know if you have any questions or thoughts below, but that's all I got, and have a great night.